Battlefield, a massive franchise that used to focus on team play, unique combat roles, vast sprawling maps, massive variety, and a dedicated fan base that was willing to wage war. Not only that, but throw down against the COD bros at the drop of a hat. But what happened to this golden era of Battlefield? Well, Battlefield 5 devs told the player base not to buy the game. They lied a couple times about TTK changes. The Battlefield 2042 devs said that it was a love letter to the fans, and then when we finally get the game, they had taken out scoreboards, removed the server browser, and implemented the corniest characters of all time. Now, all these things come down to one thing, and that's not listening to the player base. Now that DICE is coming off two of the greatest Battlefield disasters of all time, we'd like to think they'd learned their lesson, but indeed, as the weeks tick by, it becomes more and more obvious that devs do not care what the community actually thinks. So, here are the top 3 reasons that I believe, in chronological order, why Battlefield 6 is really just going to be another corporate disappointment. Now, first off, we've been waiting for a confirmation on a server browser forever, and DICE has already stated that the game will have some form of skill-based matchmaking, which I believe, and many do, that this is the plague of the gaming industry. But rest assured, we're promised once again that ping will be king. Yeah, throw that on the ash heap of greatest lies ever told. We've heard it before. So when it comes to SBMM, who's to say that we don't reach COD levels of skill-based matchmaking, every single match being a sweat fest, the idea of enjoying a sandbox game pretty much completely out the window because you won't be able to afford to use anything less than one of the top 3 to 5 guns in the game, and then there goes the fun. There goes your only in Battlefield moments, the whole sandbox idea. There goes Battlefield. Battlefield as a franchise will be dead, and I mean, like, worse than it already is. I keep hearing people say, if they don't get it right this time, then Battlefield will officially be dead. But Battlefield died the first time I heard,
"Don't be sad. This is just how it works out sometimes."
They're trying to dig this poor boy out of the dirt and give him CPR, but I'll stand by and let them do it if it means the possible yet doubtful fun of Battlefield 4 returning into our lives. Now, second, it's this new idea to unlock weapons from their classes. Now, yeah, I know a lot's been said about this. I know that 2042 unlocked weapons for classes, so why would we ever want to copy anything from that dumpster fire of a game? There's a deeper reason as to why this is bad, but I'm going to get that at soon. For now, we need to understand that keeping guns class locked spreads the meta out a little bit. That's why you get killed by a plethora of different guns in Battlefield 4, and I know I'm going to get comments down below saying I always get killed by the Ace 23 or the AEK or the ACWR, and yeah, they're going to be the most used, but there's still much greater variety in Battlefield 4 than a vast majority of online first-person shooters, modern ones anyways. Now, if you want to put medic over to support, absolutely, be my guest. Assault in Battlefield 4 probably was just a little overpowered, but unlocking all the guns destroys what makes Battlefield unique. If I was never forced to use carbines or PDWs for engineer or sniper rifles for the recon class, there's a few guns that I never would have touched or been interested in. And spending more time leveling up those guns, it added valuable playtime for me. And learning how to master a gun that I might not have been initially good at, it adds variety. It says, okay, well, I've got this certain gun, I need to play into its strengths, and so I would hone that particular play style that I wasn't really that experienced in. So if Battlefield 6 devs are so adamant that the perks that they're giving to players to match their class with their weapon will indeed help people self-lock the classes, why try to do that when you could just lock the classes in the first place? It makes no sense whatsoever. And hear me out, I know that unlocked weapons and classes is not a death knell for the franchise. However, this is the deeper thing. When we see something that's so overwhelmingly unpopular to the player base, anywhere from 80 to 90% in every single poll I've seen, vehemently refuting this idea, and the devs are like, yeah, we're gonna do it anyway. And they double down on this garbage. That tells us right off the bat that DICE doesn't care what we think. They don't care. They rolled out this big Battlefield Labs red carpet to reach an olive branch out to the community that they have previously shat on multiple times and tell us, we want your feedback, we need your guidance, we want to test this so we get it right. And then an issue as starkly hated as unlocked classes that comes about, the devs just flat out ignore us. This is a foreshadowing that no matter what comes up, no matter how loud the community screams, DICE will do what helps their bottom line, what makes their investors happy. Because let me tell you, these investors and these board members, they don't give a crap about gaming. They never played Battlefield. They might have played COD back in the day, which may have piqued their interest into investing into a video game now. But even if they did, they don't see what made the golden era of gaming so great. They're just looking at Fortnite profit records, looking at their own devs and saying, well, why can't you do that with our game? And any pushback, of course, is useless, because creating a game for the lowest common denominator is simply more profitable than creating a game that real gamers are going to love. That's why Call of Duty just keeps pumping out insane skins like American Dad, Beavis and Butthead, and Nicki Minaj. I mean, it's not even close to being recognizable as Call of Duty. They just want to milk these beloved franchises completely dry, and when the vets get mad, well, we'll shut them up with another remake of Scrapyard or any number of the Golden Era maps. Which leads me to the final point, and it ties in quite well, and that's the fact that they are pushing for 100 million players. I'm sorry, guys, but Battlefield doesn't attract 100 million players. It just doesn't. To myself realizes that, okay, well, it's succeeding, but that's not Battlefield. It's turned into Fortnite with a different name. It's turned into Call of Duty with a different name. So when I hear that, I know that my beloved franchise is going to be twisted into something that it's not. Something that doesn't focus on the player base. Something that isn't Battlefield. Something that is built for the masses, for the money, for the profits. And of course, let me tell you, I have no problem with people making money. I have no problem with people making profits. But when you do so at the detriment of some of these beloved franchises, that's what pisses us off. So just my 2 cents. Don't get too excited about Battlefield 6. It's the same song and dance that we've seen before. I know you might be younger and excited, or maybe, you know, older and haven't kept up with gaming news to see how bad the industry is doing, but know that Battlefield 6 is going to be a profit-driven project that's going to do everything to bring in new players that don't really care for Battlefield, and they're also just going to do barely enough to keep as many vets appeased to keep the older players still playing. DICE knows you might complain, but as long as you're playing, they're not feeling any real pain, and they can continue to march ahead with reckless abandon, just as we've seen in COD. So that being said, keep Battlefield 4, keep Battlefield 1 alive. Hell, while you're at it, download Plutonium and help keep the Golden Era COD games alive. If you found this video informative, encouraging, discouraging, thought-provoking, or offensive, please leave a like below and consider subscribing. But for now, hit you good out.